Marvel Comics in the 90s. How could we forget? Big hair, huge muscles, big boobs, and gigantic guns. The era where we had 30 Spider-Man and X-Men titles. Marvel had plenty of gimmicks, but man did I love it when I was a kid. Welcome to the marvelous 90s. Hey Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline Fans. You're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, bringing you the debut episode of Marvelous 90s. That's right guys, this is the video series where I will discuss nothing but Marvel Comics from the 1990s. And we all know how some was good, some was bad, some was okay, and you know what happened in the late 90s with Marvel, right? So, the first book that we're going to be talking about today is New Warriors, issue number 1. And this video is dedicated to my good friend Brant Fowler from Comic Frontline, as he is a huge New Warriors fan, as well as I am, but I think he's bigger than I am, and he's still looking for that good modern day New Warriors book. We're getting a TV show, but it's not iconic like this 90s team. That's right, guys. So New Warriors issue number 1. Little story about how I got into the New Warriors. I actually went to New Jersey in 1990, I think it was, in the summer, or 1991. And I went to go visit my grandparents, and we went to a grocery store. And on the spinner rack, there was some comic books. And my grandmother said, just pick out some books that you want to read. New Warriors was one of them. Actually, New Warriors issue number 16, where it had Terrax on the cover. I picked it up because I liked the cover. Terrax looked like a badass. He had a freaking battle axe, right? Why would you not want to buy that as a 15-year-old? So I went to go pick that up, and I loved it. I fell in love with Mark Bagley's artwork back in the day, and from there on out, I was a New Warriors fan. Now, with today's issue 1, how does it hold up compared to today's standards? Well, let's find out. First off, we have Fabian Nicieza, I don't know how to say it, is the writer. And Mark Bagley, like I said, is the penciler. If you have Bagley artwork, you already know that the artwork is there. It's solid. And even in this issue, it's really well done. The word bubbles in this book, I think, is really well done too. When Terrax speaks, I thought it's awesome looking. You can feel or read how much of a menace he is in this issue. So I thought that was really cool as well. So let's talk about this story. Well, in a lot of team books, you always get the origin of the team, the coming together of the team. And my issue with books like this is, are we going to get introduced to every single character in the very first issue and they're going to overwhelm you? Well, in New Warriors, they absolutely do that. You get introduced to Namorita, you get introduced to Nova, you get introduced to Speedball, Night Thrasher, Marvel Boy, and Firestar. And I feel like in this issue, they don't have that time to really shine like they should. You know, maybe introduce half the team and then introduce the other half of the team in the second issue. But no, they wanted it out there, right there, whole world to see. So first thing you wind up seeing is Night Thrasher. And he's holding Richard Rider, who his powers lay dormant. And he drops him off, and the next thing he starts flying. So he winds up getting that information from the Fantastic Four on how to get his powers back. Now, the whole reason why Night Thrasher, to begin with, wants to form this team is very Batman-like. His parents were killed, and he wants to fight crime to stop bad guys from killing other people. That's basically it. That's his motive. That's why he wants a team. He can't do it by himself. Unlike Batman, where Batman wants to do it by himself. He wants someone with him, like Robin. But this guy wants a whole team. So we wind up seeing Richard Rider. He gets his powers back. We get introduced to Marvel Boy, who wants to become an Avenger. But he gets turned down by Captain America. Kind of slams the door in his face because he's a kid, and being an Avenger back then was a big deal. Like, there was no Secret Avengers, there wasn't 800 other Avenger teams. It was a big deal. You had to gain a lot of fighting experience, you had to be older, more mature, so he was turned down. He winds up running into what seems Night Thrasher and Nova just out of random, and says, hey, you want to be part of a team? And so that's kind of how Marvel Boy winds up joining the team. Next thing we wind up seeing is that the three of them kind of hack into a system and they find Angelica Jones, Firestar. And Night Thrasher kind of like gets her attention and holds her blackmail, but really doesn't, just wants to get her there quickly. And so she zooms out there. Now, one of my favorite characters is Firestar, and she is not utilized in the Marvel Universe whatsoever. She is so lacking in the Marvel Universe. But here in this series, I really loved her. She dresses in that iconic uniform, and when I hear her voice in this comic book, it reminds me of Angelica Jones from Amazing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. So really good to see her in this book as well. One of the next characters we get introduced in here is Speedball. Just a kid, just has these powers. He sees the New Warriors fighting on TV. His mom's trying to buy a TV at this TV store, and she's like, is it cable ready? It's just like, this book shows its age. It's so funny. They also mention a old TV show by Alien Nation in this book as well, which is a really cheesy show in today's standards. But anyway, we get introduced to Speedball. Namorita is in this book as well, as she was part of this environmental thing that was going on. So these are all the characters that are introduced into this series. Now, they all come together because Terrax makes his appearance here, and there was this environmental thing that was going on that was causing kids to have cancer, and Terrax is a terraforming type of villain. He shows up, all the heroes come together, they fight, and they battle Terrax, which was really, really cool. When they battle Terrax and they defeat him, all of a sudden the Avengers come out of nowhere. Captain America, Quasar, Jennifer Walters, and they're like, you guys did a pretty good job, but kids, we'll clean it up. And then Marita's kind of like, kids? And it's just funny, and he says it again, and it's just like Captain America ragging on the young kids. So, in the end, they wind up saying, you know what, we're only going to do this with 4 people, but since Speedball came into the mix, we can do it with 5 people, including myself. So he's like, what do we call ourselves? And Speedball was like, well, I heard a broadcaster calling themselves the New Warriors. And they're like, okay, hands in. So they wound up putting their hands in, and from there on out, they are called the New Warriors. And that was a lot of fun. It's kind of funny that this issue dealt with environmental issues because it was a big deal in the 90s. For instance, Captain Planet, right? You know, Terrax, terraforming type of villain. Again, all environmental stuff. So, cool things here. So, very 90s type of style of book. We get to see the big hair from Namorita, Firestar, even Speedball. He's got a lot of hair. Environmental issues, old cheesy 90s shows. Just all kinds of 90s stuff when you read this particular book. Really fits the times. And I really enjoyed it for what it is. Now, if you compare it to today's standards, I gotta give the book, I don't know. There was a lot of dialogue and they fit a lot of information in there. But in the end, if I hold it to today's standards, probably a 3.75. But it's very iconic. Back when I was 15 years old, I probably gave this book maybe a 4.5 out of 5 stars. But good stuff here. If you guys never read the original New Warriors, I say go ahead and try to pick it up in trade. I think it is a good series. It lasted a very long time. And yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. So there you guys have it. There is the debut episode of Marvelous 90s. Hopefully you guys get a feel for what this series will be as I relive some of the greatest comics in the 90s and I give you a little history of myself on my impact with these books. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. Don't forget to check out comicfrontline.com and don't forget to tune in to our live show that happens each and every Tuesday night, starting around 9:30, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about the news, the top 5, and a whole lot other stuff. So, guys, until that next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off, and Brant Fowler, I hope you enjoyed this video. So, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.